Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video. That's right guys, you read the title, you know exactly what it is that I'm reviewing. But before I begin, first off, I want to give a shout out to one of my good friends, Trent Martin. He was supposed to join me for this review video, but unfortunately, he was unable to, and, well, because, you know, have to get this done, you know, and the clock is ticking. It's just me. So, you know, but, you know, he has seen this movie, and no doubt about it that Trent enjoys this Nickelodeon movie, original movie, I should say. Yes, that's right, guys. You know, who'd have thought that we would get something from Nickelodeon that's animated and turn it into live action? Now, technically, the SpongeBob films, they don't really count, since there were numerous of times where SpongeBob, you know, made it out of the ocean, and we saw some live action stuff, like most notably Patchy the Pirate, so that doesn't really count. No, I'm talking about, say, you know, just like what Disney has done, you know, turning their classic animated films into live action. So, you know, that's a good example, I guess you could say. That's right, I'm reviewing from 2019, Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Yes, Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Finally, because I've gotten to watch this, and thus I'm reviewing it. You're watching my review. I gotta say, the first things I have to say, well, before I do, a little backstory, and, you know, my experience and growing up with the show itself, Dora. Well, it's true. I hate to admit it, but it's true. I was obsessed with the show. I really enjoyed Dora the Explorer. I had, like, you know, I had a lot of the toys. Not to mention, I had the Dora's House playset. Do you remember that? And you know, you press buttons and you hear Dora's voice. I had that. I totally had that. And those action figures, those little figures of Dora and her friends, including Swiper, and, you know, that would go along with that playset house, Dora's house, that is. They were really cool. They were really cool figures. I even watched Go Diego Go. I played some of the games. I could go on, but yeah. Again, I was a fan of Dora. I enjoyed watching it, and, you know, it was just one of those Nick Jr. shows, and, you know, Nick Jr. on Noggin, that too. One of those shows that I watched a lot, you know, right next to, say, Go Diego Go, Max and Ruby, the Wonder Pets. I could go on. But anyways, so the first things I have to say about Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Well, now that I've finally seen it, I don't think it's that bad. It's quite enjoyable. You know, it seemed to have done pretty good, but not as, you know, huge and successful. But, you know, just a really good movie. You know, that's all I could really say. Because, yeah, I mean, golly, because the Rotten Tomato score is 85%. Wow. Yeah. But I'm sure, yeah, there were some people that, you know, were how they felt about this movie. But for me, I really enjoyed it. So yeah. Okay, so, as always, read the description / the story. Having spent most of her life exploring the jungle, nothing could prepare Dora for her most dangerous adventure yet: high school. Accompanied by a ragtag group of teens and Boots, the monkey, Dora embarks on a quest to save her parents while trying to solve the seemingly impossible mystery behind a lost Incan civilization, if I got that one word right. Okay, so, golly, where do I start? I mean, because, okay, first off, let me just say that there were a lot of things in this movie for me that, oh my gosh, like, first off, how this movie opens, like, I didn't really know what to expect when I finally watched the film. I'm sure some of you didn't, know what to expect from this movie. For one thing, like, the opening to this movie literally is the movie's version of the show's intro, Dora, all of that, and seeing a young Dora and Diego along with Boots and Swiper. Swiper is in there. And Dora at 6 years old, both Dora and Diego, that is, both being played by Madeline Miranda, and Malaki Barton. I'm sure I got their names right. And Dora, at 6 years old, is acting like how she was in the show. Just so hyperactive and, like, thinking she's talking to us audience. Even, like, Diego and her parents are confused, And, yeah, Dora's parents, Elena and Cole, being played by Ava Longoria, if I'm saying that right, and Michael Pena, the same guy from the MCU in the Ant-Man films, Scott's friend, and gives, like, those backstories. That's him. So, he's a good actor. How can you not like him in anything that he does, knowing him? Yeah, like, one big thing for Dora and her parents is this lost city of gold. Like, later on, and when she grows older, in her teens, at this point, Dora and Diego have to say their goodbyes because Diego is leaving for the big city, he and his parents. And Dora and Diego, they say their goodbyes. And fast forward 10 years later, Dora, now, of course, a teenager, Dora, being played by Isabella Marced, if I'm saying her last name right. Yeah, I gotta say, like, Isabella, her performance as Dora, pretty good. And because she's now a teenager, she's still the same as she was 6 years old, like, just talking to animals, interacting to us audiences. Can you say this word, that word, blah, 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 that whole thing. Yeah, it's pretty funny, and sometimes it could be kind of awkward. Yeah, no doubt about it. And boy, wait until I get to that, because some awkward moments for Dora. So Dora and Boots, yeah, because Boots' appearance in this, well, of course he's a monkey, has the same fur color as he did in the animated show, and rightfully so. The same goes for Swiper. I think that the live-action appearances of Boots and Swiper, I think they were pretty good. They were pretty good. And besides, Swiper, he still has what you'd expect from good old Swiper. The gloves and the mask. They're blue, so there you go. Dora and Boots, they stumble upon what they're searching for. Like, this has to do with, what her and her parents, they've been dreaming of. The lost city of gold, that is. And as they call it, the legend of Parapata, if I'm even saying that right, I don't know. But I'm calling it the lost city of gold, so just so you know. Sorry if some of, again, you know me sometimes, how I try to say words and last names and so on. So she finds it, and she, even like her parents knew about this, the location, and even when they're trying to hide it, but there's no point in hiding it anymore from Dora, and she's really excited about this, and she can't wait to do this with her parents, but her parents, they're not gonna let her do this because it's too dangerous, and they want her to go to the big city, like to stay with her cousin and relatives for a while, and while she's at a new school. Yeah, because her being reunited with her cousin Diego, and like Dora at one point, like Dora tried to take a bow with her, like, a snake, even like trying to take Boots along with her, but of course none of that works. And her traveling to the big city, and oh my gosh, because her interacting with everybody in the airport, ugh, gotta slow down. Her saying, "Hola, soy Dora. Hi, I'm Dora." God. And yeah, she has not changed since she was a kid. No. You know what? And that's the thing. I did not expect this movie to do that. To have Dora just do as she did in the animated show. And for her to still do it in her teen years. Oh my gosh. So, when she arrives at the big city, I want to say it's New York. I mean, I don't think they don't really establish it. All they say is the big city. Well, okay, New York is referred to as the big city, so duh. So Diego, Diego and Dora are reunited, as well as we get an appearance of Dora's grandmother, Abuelita. Am I saying that right? I think so, yeah. And her going to this school, oh boy, because what happens at the school? Oh my gosh, because a lot happens, and to speed things up on that, because her interacting with some of the kids, and even when like going through the luggage scanning, that's now in schools, and she has so many things that she can't even take in the school, but all she can take is her yo-yo. And Dora said to one of the security guards that the yo-yo is a dangerous weapon. And for her, how is it a dangerous weapon? Well, I mean, depends on how you handle yo-yos, but something about her yo-yo that we see very later on in the film. So again, her interactions with some of the students, like first off, she interacts with this one girl who is selling cupcakes in order to save the rainforest. Sammy being played by Madeline Madden. I think I got that right. The chemistry between them at first, they're not even like Sammy doesn't see Dora as a friend, and according to Diego, and can't forget to mention Diego, now a teenager, being portrayed by Jeff Wahlberg. Yeah, got that right. Diego explains to Dora, what Sammy is like, and everybody pretty much just hates her, hates Sammy, and doesn't. Nobody likes her, and neither does Diego. Basically, nobody can get along with her. So. And then we meet, and Dora meets, that is, Randy, being played by Nicholas Coombe. I think I might have gotten that right. And Dora explains to Dora why, it's best not to interact with Randy because, well, he's kind of sensitive, and he gets picked on a lot. So, yeah, there you go. And just more awkward and embarrassing things that happen during, their time at school. And, her being the new student, and yet Diego was telling Dora to, just be normal and don't do anything like, what she does. And Dora does the opposite. And, she doesn't care if, she's made fun of, I can tell, but Diego, he's just embarrassed. Even when, at one point when they attend to a school dance, this dance, everybody gets to dress up as their favorite character, I want to say. I don't know. Like Dora, she dresses up as the sun, and one song that plays during the dance is "Do the Conga." Boom, shake it, body, baby, do that conga. Yeah, that song plays, and she likes that song, and she can't help but dance to it. And when she's the only one that's dancing, she does some dance moves that embarrass Diego, and everybody just makes fun of. Like she's doing animal dance moves, that is, like the elephant and others, but yeah. And Diego walks off, and Dora catches up to Diego, and trying to I guess cheer up Diego, and because she is aware of what's going on, and Diego he kind of snaps at her, and kind of he basically kind of hurts her feelings. And then later on, because there's a moment between Dora and her Abuelita, her grandmother, basically, a nice moment between them, and even like, say, when she was going to school, she was trying to make calls to her parents, but I think at a certain point, she wasn't receiving a call back from them, and, you know, what's going on with her parents? But, you know, we soon find out. And then we see Dora and the rest of the class students go on a field trip to this historical museum, you know, of history and such, and someone overhears Dora about the lost city of gold, and well, I mean, this is interesting, like, you know, because this one employee is allowing Dora to, you know, make her way downstairs, along with, you know, a couple of others that join with Dora, because, you know, sometimes with school, because, you know, pick your group, and especially if it's something like that at a museum, pick your group and, you know, do this and that, you know about this, if you get what I'm saying. So Dora is partnered up with Sammy, Randy, and of course her cousin Diego. So they all go down to the basement, and well, because Dora gets caught by security. And then we see, you know, one person downstairs, because, yeah, the one who, you know, like, basically had Dora go down to the basement was a woman named Christina X, being played by Natasha Ristic, if I'm even saying, Ristius, I think that sounds about right. And then there's Viper, being played by Christopher Kirby, and Powell, being played by Tamara Morrison, aka Django/Boba Fett/ the Clone Troopers. Yeah, hard to believe that he's in this movie. I mean, I think if I recall before the movie came out, and when, you know, it was announced who was going to be in the movie, who was going to be Dora, and Tamara Morrison being announced to be in the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, like, Tamara Morrison? The dude from Star Wars who's played so many roles, and, well, you know. But, you know, he's Tamara Morrison. He's good in anything. And he was pretty good in this, because what happens next is Christina, Viper, and Powell, they turn out to be bad guys, and they're after the lost city of gold as well. They capture Dora, and they throw her in a box, and the thing is, when Sammy, Randy, and Diego were hiding, they hid in a box. And it turned out to be the same box that they put Dora in. And, well, they put sleeping gas in there, and when they wake up hours later, they find themselves no longer in the big city, but they're now at the jungle. So, yeah, they left the U.S., and now they're in the jungle. However, there's one guy that appears and helps out our teen characters. Alejandro, if I'm saying that name right. I was close. I was just about close. It's Alejandro, that's how you say it. And Alejandro, being played by Eugenio Derbez, if I'm even saying his last name right, I don't know. Again, you know me sometimes. So Alejandro helps out our main teen characters, and he tells Dora that he knows her parents, and you know, I think, yeah, he was sent to help Dora, and, you know, they escape, and, of course, the bad guys notice, and Powell calls out Swiper. Yes, this is where Swiper appears, even though he did appear at the start of the movie when, you know, the movie did its own, you know, intro, like the show. Swiper, God, hard to believe, because who voices Swiper? Benicio del Toro. Yeah, he voices Swiper. Oh my gosh. But, you know, hey, he's Benicio del Toro. He's good in anything. And you know what? For him to voice Swiper, that's awesome. So Powell sends Swiper out to, you know, get them, and to get the map that Dora has in her backpack. And speaking of which, yeah, because in the movie's style of the show's intro, because, yeah, Backpack was talking, and so was the map. But of course, you know, in the movie, in reality of the movie, you know, they don't talk. So so Swiper attempting to steal the map and such, Dora stopping Swiper, and, well, she knows how to jump and obstacles and move, I tell ya. Even Randy's comment, she's awesome. And so they, of course, get out of there and ride in a Jeep. They drive through this field, and, well, they don't follow, the bad guys don't follow them because, they think they proceeded on, so, and from there on, because Dora, Sammy, Randy, Diego, and along with Alejandro, they have to, go through the jungle and to find the lost city of gold. And that's when, later on, they find out that, what happened with Dora's parents, it seemed like at first they got captured. And a lot of funny moments that happen while they're in the jungle. Alejandro brought a lot of stuff, for them to take with them, like snacks, and he had a DVD copy of the Pitch Perfect movie trilogy. Okay, so, and by the way, because I have a Blu-ray copy of the Pitch Perfect movie trilogy, and it's the exact same cover, although it's it's a Blu-ray cover, it's a Blu-ray case, not a DVD case. So they adventure on into the jungle, and on a couple of trees, there's some red circles, and that's the mark of Dora's parents. And by following those marks on those trees, and eventually, they do find the campsite where Dora's parents resided. And they stumble upon Boots. Boots, of course, is reunited with Dora, and Boots joining along in the adventure. And by the way, moments with the character of Sammy, oh my gosh, because, she just wants, at times her saying, I want to go home, and so on. Even Randy at times was saying that too, and how Sammy still not friends with Dora. And a funny moment where she's waddling, we see her waddling, and I think Dora and the others, they're figuring out what that's about with Sammy, and basically Sammy has to go poo. And Dora helps out Sammy by digging a poo hole, and by singing a song. And a couple of times where Dora recommends, singing a song, and, sometimes she does sing. So by singing a song, by digging the poo hole, and thus, Sammy, she has no choice but to go ahead and use the poo hole that Dora dug for her. And a little bit later, arrows are being shot at our main characters. And, when they're running away, we then come back, to Sammy. She's using the poo hole, of course, and she starts singing the song that Dora was singing. It seems to be helping her, but that changes quickly, just, when the arrows are shooting, and she has to, I hope she was done. So they run away, and because you can't see who's shooting arrows at our main characters, but they do start to find out who was throwing arrows at them, even when at one point they hide inside a giant log, and even it seemed like that one arrow shot and hit Randy, but actually no, because it was his juice box? Yeah, juice box. It seemed like it was blood, but no, it was coming from the juice box. Even when the log they're in rolls down, and, of course, they're all right afterwards. And, and thus they figure out more clues and such about the lost city of gold, and, Sammy is not doing so great, especially after what happened, and Dora, recommends by singing another song, and Sammy just kind of snaps at Dora, and Dora walks off a bit upset. Diego, comforts Dora, and talking about Sammy, what Sammy's like back at school, and how you start to realize, and how he's talking about Sammy, and Dora figures this out. She can tell that Diego is attracted to Sammy, and he's denying it, but come on, Diego, you can't hide it anymore. And now that, your little cousin knows, and us audience know too, so, yeah. Okay, and so continuing on, because what happens next is that, actually Diego and Dora stumble upon and hear the bad guys, talking about the lost city of gold and such, and they almost get caught, even when Alejandro shows up and saying, "Hey guys," and the bad guys thought they heard something, they hide, and Boots, well, he has an idea to have the bad guys see that, well, it was him making noise, it was a monkey making noise, and Viper kind of having a problem with a monkey, so, yeah. So our main characters, they get more clues and such, on their destination to find the lost city of gold, and then later on, well, because they stumble upon something on the ground that's, kind of mushy and squashy, and it's making fart noises, and they're having some laughs by stepping on like the mushy stuff on the ground, that sounds like farts. But little do they know that they're starting to sink. It's quicksand. So, they're struggling, and Dora has an idea, just, lay flat and, your legs, what she tells them. It actually does work. It works for them. But poor Alejandro, because he's still sinking, and not to mention there are 2 scorpions that show up, and oh gosh, that makes it worse for Alejandro. And yeah, as I said, 2 scorpions, they go up on the top of his head. They think the 2 scorpions are fighting, but Dora realizes that they're actually mating, and thus Alejandro sinks down, but actually, because there is a bottom, like where he's at, like there's an edge, and his feet are sticking out. Randy notices this, and thus Alejandro's okay, and then like at one point starts sobbing, and he's apologizing and saying to Dora that he's a bad guy, and Dora reasoning with Alejandro, telling him, no, you're not a bad guy and such. But little do we know, for them and for some of us audiences, that goes for me too, like, what comes next for the character of Alejandro. And then at one point, someone is approaching them, and it's this old woman who, lives in the jungle, and this old woman, let me see, where was she? Oh, yeah. This old woman, that's how she's called, being played by Isla Vega. I think I got that right. And basically, this old woman, like, gives them advice and such, and where to go on their destination, and even like has like little stone carvings of themselves, and by smashing them with a rock, and like I guess that's her way of telling them that they probably might not survive. And at this point, Sammy and Randy, well, the old woman offers to help Sammy and Rami go back home, basically. And, and then, at one point, they all say their goodbyes, leaving Diego, Dora, and Alejandro, just the 3 of them, to continue on in the jungle, while Sammy and Randy, they go back home to the U.S., and when they make their way to a boat that they're supposed to take with the old woman, they see something on the old woman's wrist, like a symbol and marking that, Sammy knows what that's about, and thus Sammy and Randy, they run back to them to warn them. And so when we do come back to Dora, Diego, and Alejandro, where they're going to proceed on to find the lost city of gold, and what, the directions that the old woman gave them, well, they stumble upon these giant flowers that they're not supposed to touch. And as, they're trying to squeeze their way through the giant flowers, well, sure enough, Alejandro, he accidentally touches one of them, because when he squeezed his way out of one of them and, saying, "I did it," and that, he accidentally touched one of them, that's that causes all of the giant flowers to, unleash this powder, and it starts to mess with the three of them, their minds. And this is where, oh my gosh, like a crazy moment where they turn animated in that animation style, from Dora, and we see, of course, the map, Boots, and Backpack, they come to life and talk. Even a rock is talking. And the map, actually, because the map who's talking in this sequence that's animated, the map being voiced by Mark Weiner, who is the original voice of Map in Dora the Explorer, as well as doing a lot of other voices like, say, Swiper. Yeah, it was nice to see, a voiced cast member be in this live-action Dora film. And, gosh, because Alejandro is having the time of his life. He's really enjoying this. He even strips down naked. We can even see butt cheeks. Like, butt cheeks in Dora the Explorer. Oh my gosh. And we see all of the other characters from Dora the Explorer. Like, we see Benny, Issa, Tico, the grumpy old troll. I want to say, I think Senor Toucan, and I don't think I saw I don't think the big red chicken was in there, but I could have sworn I saw Senor Toucan. But yeah, it's nice to see them make an appearance. And, like at one point, Dora's trying to jump over, a cliff, and she fails, and, she does fall down, but she makes her way back to where Diego was, and, well, it's up to both of them to jump, and they succeed jumping, but they don't make it quite to the other side, and, they're about to fall down, holding on to the edge, but sure enough, we see Randy and Sammy in the animation style, they help them and rescue them, and then we see, we're back to live action, and yeah, Dora waking up from that, and because, well, this for sure conked out Dora, Diego, and Alejandro for sure, because, what the heck just happened? Yeah, that was definitely a mind-blowing thing. But overall, it was nice to see, the Dora the Explorer animation and all those characters make an appearance in this movie. That was very nice. And so they're all back together, and they proceed on to try to find the lost City of Gold. And according to Dora, they're near the lost City of Gold, but then the ground crumbles because they're like somewhere on the mountains, and it crumbles, and they find this one room that, to Randy, he says, it's a jungle puzzle, and these stars, and all that to try and solve this puzzle, and these, levers, and Randy, pulling one of them, and it causes water to shoot out, and, yeah, that was pretty funny. And Diego figures out that, there's like an aqueduct, and a way for them to get out, and, where the water can drain out, and so on. So to speed things up, they have to dive down and try to open it, but the only one that can do that is Randy. And I can't forget to mention this, because according to Randy, very early on in the film, at high school, he said to Dora that he can hold his breath, 7 minutes, and thus, by doing so, him holding his breath for 7 minutes, he goes down there to open the hatch, for the water to drain out, and thus they can get out of there, and which, they do, going through this aqueduct, and, eventually, jumping, landing in water, and eventually, and what happens next, Dora is reunited with her parents. Her parents are all right. They were in another part of the jungle. They fled from their campsite. And yeah, so again, Dora is reunited with her parents, and Diego seeing his aunt and uncle again, and Dora's parents meeting, their new friends. Even Sammy now officially, says that, that she's friends with Dora, saying to Dora's parents that, we're her high school friends. So yeah, so now Sammy is a friend of Dora's, and Dora letting her parents know that Alejandro is with her and the others because, her parents, knew him and they told him about her and so on. And then, well, because Alejandro pops up, and, he's all right, well, he calls in the three bad guys. Yeah, we get our surprised villain. Yeah, so I didn't see that coming, that Alejandro was a bad guy, and the fact that he's technically the main bad guy of this film. And, there have been plenty of other movies, like most notably Disney and Pixar, where they've sometimes done surprised villains. Like, I can think of, say, Mayor Bellwether, Hans from Frozen, Stinky Pete, Henry J. Waternoose, yeah, that whole thing. So, for this movie, I wasn't really surprised, but I was like, oh, okay, so... And besides, like, Alejandro, he seemed like a nice guy at first, and he definitely had his funny moments, and he still has his funny moments when he's revealed to be the bad guy. The surprised villain, that is. And so, Dora, Sammy, Randy, and Diego, they're captured as well, and thus all of them making their way to, find the lost city of gold. But then, sure enough, Boots helps out Diego, Sammy, Randy, and Diego, untying the knots, and, Viper, the black guy, turning around and like, what's going on? And, they're just acting casually, and, he sees the monkey, of course, and, Boots eating a banana and pointing to the banana. But then he sees what's going on, when he turns and, looks at Randy and looks down below, and yeah, his knot came off of him, and that's when, they escape, and Dora uses her yo-yo on Viper, and we see why, because for it being a dangerous weapon, because, yeah, how you, like, move it and such, you're risking to hit somebody, and thus, yeah, she hits Viper with the yo-yo, and now she understands why it really is a dangerous weapon. But, as in reality, you gotta be careful with using yo-yos, that's the thing. And, it's just simple, just do that. So yeah, and thus the Powell and Alejandro, they notice that they've escaped, but well, they allow them to escape, especially Alejandro, because he knows what they're going to do next. And Dora at one point, didn't catch up with them, and she tumbles, and another sad moment for Dora, where what's gonna happen next, and they're gonna she's like technically talking to Boots, that Alejandro and his troops will find the lost city of gold, and they'll free/let go of Dora's parents, but then she says that, he might kill them. He might kill all of them when finding the lost city of gold, and she doesn't know what to do at this point. And still talking to Boots and saying that, she doesn't know what to do because, she's just a kid. And that's when, out of nowhere, Boots actually talks to Dora, and... God. Now, you think, because, like, say... Benicio del Toro voicing Swiper is whoa. Well, Boots, on the other hand, Boots being voiced by Danny Trejo. Yeah, him, yeah, he's the voice of Boots. And Boots goes on saying to Dora, and when, she's just shocked to see Boots talking, Boots goes on giving advice to Dora, you're not a kid, you're a teenager, and, you can't do this alone, you have, your friends, and with them, anything is possible. Yeah, and it's true what Boots says. And after what Boots says, his face completely changes, his facial expressions, what he was saying, and kind of have a smile to just a frown face like a monkey. And Dora just, said, Boots, you can talk, Boots, ooh, ooh, ooh. That's funny. And what an awkward moment when Sammy, Randy, and Diego find Dora, and, they find her right in the middle when she's, trying to talk to Boots again. It's funny. And so, thus, with her friends and her cousin, Diego, together, they'll do whatever it takes to get to the lost city of gold and to save Dora's parents and to find what's in the lost city of gold. And the thing in what's inside the lost city of gold is like this golden monkey statue, and like there's a miniature one, a medium-sized one, to there being like a huge version. So yeah. So when they make their way to the lost city of gold, they find the gate, the entrance, the doors. It's closed. Well, it's another jungle puzzle, according to Randy. And like what they saw early on, the whole with the water and the aqueduct, because it's like twinkling like stars on the ground, like they see that again, and with them lighting, it's from the moon. But like when clouds are blocking the moon, certain like stones with like like shining twinkly stars, like some of them are still lighting, and it gives them a clue, an idea, and this is how to open the gates / the doors, because they make constellations. One makes like I want to say like a predator, like a tiger or something. One makes a reptile, snake, and levers, by those statues, and they have to pull those levers down, and that will get the doors / gates to open. And by doing so, it does work. They get in there, and then, they have to face more booby traps, and in order to get to the treasure and, what's inside the lost city of gold. Yeah, because like they use like sun bowls to reflect sun lighting, and in order to open the next gates, doors, and spikes are coming down, and they make their way out of that room, and even when the doors are closing in on them, and Dora's struggling to get out, but Boots, he like uses like a lever, just, with his tail. He uses his tail as a lever to, open those doors a bit for, Dora to get out. Like, okay, apparently that worked, so, but good on Boots, helped Dora get out of there, not get, squashed. And, the next kind trap they have to come face to face with, is, it's more like spikes, and the room, like, kind of like levers, kind of like rotates, and Diego figures this out, and basically they have to slide down and jump, and Diego tells them that it's an illusion, and, they do so, and thankfully they do jump, and they're all right. So, yeah, the room again was like, I'm sure, yeah, you get my point. So they do find the treasure and gold, but Dora tells them that it's another puzzle. They haven't found what they're looking for exactly, and, that being what they do find a little bit later, the giant golden monkey statue. And sure enough, I knew this was coming. Alejandro shows up, and basically they have to put something on that medium-sized monkey golden statue in order to open more doors and to reveal the giant monkey golden statue. He puts like a coin on the hands of the golden monkey statue. It doesn't work, because what happens is, another booby trap opens, and Alejandro was this close to being burned alive by, I want to say, lava, yeah, because he's holding on the edge. And then we see the Lost Guardians show up, because Sammy and Randy and everybody, the others, they learned about that, these Lost Guardians, and obviously this had to do with when arrows were being shot at them. So we see the Lost Guardians, and they bring in Dora's parents. Clearly they did something to Alejandro's troops, because we don't see them again, and not to mention when they were trying to get to the gates / doors, and because of the, before the whole constellation stuff and those levers, Swiper and Powell, they were guarding it, but Dora, tricked them into, touching a frog, like dropped a bag that had a golden poison arrow frog, which Dora saw very early on in the film, and how that poisoned frog is used again. And when Powell touches it, well, he's stiff and he tips over, and for Swiper, because the frog jumps on his nose and touches Swiper, and oh man. Yeah, and of course you gotta have Swiper saying, oh man, so yeah. Because again, it wouldn't be Swiper without him saying that, no siree. And then we see the old woman. The old woman shows up, and it turns out the old woman was actually who resides at the Lost City of Gold, that being Qualiaka. I think I got that right. Being played by Qorianka Klitcher. I hope I'm getting her full name right. Yeah, I guess like, the queen of the Lost City of Gold or something. And she was gonna have Sammy, Randy, Diego, and Dora's parents be executed. Thinking that they're with Alejandro, the bad guys. But Dora, speaking in her language, I think, in Spanish, that, they're not with the bad guys, they are explorers. And Qualiaka, tells Dora to figure out the puzzle in order to open the doors and reveal what lies, further in the Lost City of Gold. And by doing so, she takes some water and pours it on, the hands of the golden monkey statue. And, well, what happens next? Doors open, and they see what lies in there further. The giant golden monkey statue. They can't believe what they're seeing. And also, Sammy and Diego slowly but surely start to connect, and especially when, they're just like, they're seeing that giant statue, and a funny moment between Randy and Boots. But then, out of nowhere, Swiper shows up, and he swipes that medium monkey golden statue, and because he does so, that angers and upsets the gods, and the Lost City of Gold starts to kind of crumble, and smoke coming in, and they have to get out of there. Alejandro is, held captive by the Lost Guardians, those that reside in the Lost City of Gold. But Dora figures out something. She puts the golden monkey statue back, where it's supposed to be, in a front center spot, and that restores everything, properly and better for the Lost City of Gold, to best put at it. And so, yeah, after that happens, Dora's parents say to their daughter that she's the greatest explorer ever. And Sammy and Diego finally connect, because Sammy kisses Diego, and she tells Diego, I like you too, because he was having a bit of a difficulty trying to say so to Sammy. And then, they come back to Dora and her parents' house in the jungle, and it just so happens that Sammy, Randy, and Diego, all of their parents, they're there, and how did they know all this, and just how? I mean, I don't think it matters. Because what matters is, they're there, and, they're all reunited. So, and, that's been in some movies. And the epilogue, because, Dora's parents, later that evening, while everybody's having a good time, at the, a dinner table outside, the porch, Dora's parents tells them that they're going back to the jungle, and they want her to go with them this time. But at this point, Dora tells them that she'd rather go back to the big city and go to high school, and thus that's what she does. And after she walks away, her parents start getting emotional, because they're really gonna miss her, and they really wanted her to come along. But hey, it's Dora's decision, so yeah. And then the end credits, because we do get a song number, because there were a few song numbers in this, this one, most notably, the song Hooray We Did It. Like, yeah, the movie's version of, Hooray We Did It. It was pretty good, and how, Dora, Sammy, Randy, and Diego, they're dancing at a different dance, party that's happening at their school, and everybody then starts joining in. And then, we see Dora's parents singing and dancing along, and they have to deal with Swiper because he tries to swipe what they have, from the Lost City of Gold. And we even see Alejandra. He's still there, and he's, being held captive by them and forced to eat, gross food like, I want to say, bugs. Yeah, that was a funny way to end the film, and for that song number, and even like everybody steps outside of the school, even like the one security guard that was telling Dora she can't bring that stuff into the school. He was in on it too with glow sticks, and oh my gosh, I almost forgot because before Dora went to the big city and to high school, they were explaining to Dora about, what to expect, and, to be careful doing at the big city, like, being invited to parties and, raves, and how her dad was describing it, Dora's dad, that is, just like, describing the music and beat. That was pretty funny. But, overall, what happens at the school, because they're kind of having a rave, and with those glow sticks, not bad. And, overall, with how the movie ended with that song number, it was funny, but a pretty good way to end the film. Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Again, I thought it was pretty good. I found myself enjoying this film. The story was good, the characters were good, like, especially Isabella Marced as Dora, and of course that goes for everybody else. Especially, Danny Trejo voicing Boots, Benicio del Toro voicing Swiper, and, Dora's parents, her high school friends, Diego. Yeah, everybody. They did a really good job. The action, everything in the movie was good. The music, yeah, just everything about this film was enjoyable, good, and, again, it's nice to see that everybody seemed to have really enjoyed this film. But, like I said, probably some people were, how they felt about this movie, just and, that's their opinion, so, yeah. And I'm giving Dora the Lost City of Gold, yeah, it's on my mind, why not? 8 out of 10 stars. Yes. 8 out of 10 stars for Dora and the Lost City of Gold. And what about you guys? What did you think of Dora and the Lost City of Gold itself? Did you find yourselves enjoying the film? And do you think they did a pretty good job bringing Dora the Explorer to live-action form? Isabella Marced's performance as Dora, everybody else, and, what this movie had to offer, everything that I've had to say about it. And what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. So, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Dora and the Lost City of Gold. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. Take care, and peace out. Gracias.